So today we're going to be talking about the top 5 UFC fighters to never win the undisputed title, in my opinion. Starting off in at number 5 is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Now, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson seems to be left out quite a lot when this topic is being talked about, from what I see online anyway. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was very unlucky not to win the undisputed title. He's got a stacked resume. He's beaten a lot of former UFC champions. We're going to go through them right now. He's beaten Robert Whittaker. Now, yes, Whittaker did do his best, has done his best work in the middleweight division, but still a former champion that Stephen Thompson was able to finish. You've got Johnny Hendricks. Again, Stephen Thompson was able to finish him. He is a former UFC welterweight champion, arguably beat GSP. You've got Rory McDonald, who's a former UFC title challenger. Obviously never won the UFC title, but like I said, a title challenger in the UFC, but has won multiple world titles in different MMA organizations. He's beat Jorge Masvidal, again not a champion but a former title challenger. And let's not forget, he went to a draw with the champion Tyron Woodley at UFC 205. A very stacked resume Wonderboy has. Very unfortunate that this guy did not and will not become UFC undisputed champion. Next up, we have got a fairly obvious one, Alexander Gustafsson. Everybody has this guy in that list, and rightly so. This guy's beat the who's who in the light heavyweight division, obviously outside of the two best in Daniel Cormier and John Jones. But let's not forget, Gustafsson was very close to beating DC and John Jones in their fights. Obviously not the second John Jones fight. Let's just go through who Gustafsson has beaten. He's beat Glover Teixeira, former champion. That's probably one of the most cleanest knockouts you will ever see. He's beaten Jan Blachowicz, former UFC champion. Like I said, had a very, very close fight with Daniel Cormier. Went to a split decision. He's beaten Shogun, another former UFC champion. A UFC legend, in fact. And obviously, he has that very, very close fight against John Jones at UFC 165. And he's also beaten some other big names like Thiago Silva. He's also beaten the only guy to beat John Jones, which is Matt Hamill. Now, yes, that loss shouldn't count, but an overall, a stacked resume that Alexander Gustafsson does have. Very unfortunate not to win the undisputed title. Next up, in at number, 3. I can't even count. We've got Alistair Overeem. This guy was robbed from a title. Stipe definitely tapped in that guillotine. Everybody knows it. Everybody's seen it. Let's be honest, this guy should have been heavyweight champion. No, but in all seriousness, a great fighter, and another guy who's got a really, really stacked resume and has beaten a lot of former champions in the UFC. Let's just go through some of his big wins. He's beat Sergey Pavlovich. In fact, he finished him in the first round. Yes, Sergey Pavlovich has never been UFC champion, but he is a top contender in the UFC heavyweight division currently and has just fought for the interim title. He's also fought Fabricio Verdum. He's beat him twice, actually. Former heavyweight champion. He's beat Andrei Arlovsky, former heavyweight champion. He's beaten Junior Dos Santos, former heavyweight champion. He's beaten Frank Mir, former heavyweight champion. He's beaten Brock Lesnar, former heavyweight champion. Alistair Overeem probably should be higher up on this list in my opinion, but the other two guys I just favour more. So yeah, Alistair Overeem, a legend in the sport of MMA. Very, very unlucky not to win the undisputed UFC title. In at number 2, we have got Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero arguably could have won the title twice in the second Robert Whittaker fight and the Israel Adesanya fight. Now, obviously, the Israel Adesanya fight was so fucking boring. I'd rather pull my eyes out than watch that fight again, let's be honest. But yeah, he could have won that fight if we're being honest. Now, I haven't went back and watched that fight because it was dog shit, let's be honest. But yeah, let's just go through some of the names that Yoel Romero has beaten. He's beaten Luke Rockhold. Now, he KO'd Luke Rockhold in the third round. I'm pretty sure he stepped in on short notice for this one and didn't make the weight. Or either Luke Rockhold stepped in on short notice and didn't make the weight. I can't remember who it was. But it was meant to be for the title. Could be for the interim title. But yeah, Yoel Romero did win that matchup, but was never able to win the title because he missed weight. Next up, he's beat Chris Weidman, former UFC champion. Lyoto Machida, former UFC champion. He's beaten the likes of Derek Brunson, a UFC top contender. You know, this guy has beaten a lot of top contenders in the UFC and arguably was robbed in 2 decisions. Yoel Romero was insane. One of my favourite fighters of all time. That KO over Luke Rockhold and that KO over Chris Weidman as well. insane, and the guy is still competing at the elite level over in the PFL right now. Will he ever win the PFL world title? Probably not, but Yoel Romero, legend in the UFC and in the sport of MMA as a whole. Very unfortunate not to win the UFC undisputed world title. And finally, in at number 1, I'm hoping this guy, I don't know because I'm an Islam fan, but I'm kind of hoping this guy can prove me wrong. Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier's resume is absolutely stacked. Now, this guy's fought for the belt on multiple occasions. He's actually fighting for the belt again in June against Islam Makhachev. Can the Diamond finally win the undisputed title? I'm not too sure, but anyway, this guy's resume is absolutely stacked. Don't know why I'm moving my hands so much, but let's just go through some of the biggest wins this guy has. And obviously coming off that win against Benoit St. Denis. Benoit St. Denis obviously probably still is one of the best prospects currently in the UFC, but in terms of like a legacy fight for Poirier, that hasn't aged so well right now. But I do think Benoit St. Denis will definitely be a title challenger in the future, so this will go down as a very good win for Dustin Poirier. Michael Chandler, he's beaten Michael Chandler, he submitted Michael Chandler. Obviously Michael Chandler, how many more times can I say Michael Chandler? Never won the UFC title, but has won multiple titles in different MMA organizations. And the main one I'm talking about obviously is Bellator. That's a great win. He's beaten Conor McGregor twice. Technically he's only beaten him once. We're not going to count the leg break. Yeah, fuck Dustin Poirier actually. But yeah, Dustin Poirier beat Conor McGregor, former featherweight and lightweight champion. Great win. He's beaten Dan Hooker, still is actually in the top 10 in the lightweight division. Never really been there to challenge for the title. He was on his way there, and then Poirier derailed that train, if we're being honest. You've got the Max Holloway win. Max Holloway, second best featherweight of all time, has just went up and KO Justin Gaethje, is the BMF champion now. They've got him ranked number 8, I believe, in the lightweight division. I don't understand that. He should definitely be higher. Eddie Alvarez, former UFC champion. Justin Gaethje, former interim champion. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Dustin Poirier has won the interim belt, but never the undisputed belt. He's beaten Justin Gaethje, like I said, former BMF champion, former interim UFC lightweight champion. He's beaten Anthony Pettis, former champion. The guy's resume is just completely stacked here, and a part of me wants to see Dustin Poirier be able to finish his MMA story by becoming the undisputed champion. However, I am an Islam Makhachev fan, but those are the top 5 UFC fighters to never win the undisputed title, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. See you again in the next one.